Three, two, one, roll the footage. Welcome back, everybody, to the Strategy Sprints podcast. I'm your host, Simon Severino. My guest today is a functional movement coach from South Africa. He helps people improve the quality of their life through movement. Welcome, everybody, Carl Reeder.
Hey, thanks for having me, Simon. Good to be on the show.
Excited to have you here. Movement is so important. We will talk about that, but also we will talk about how to build a recurring, reliable revenue stream with online business.
Sounds great.
And tell us, what are you currently creating?
I'm busy creating a new system of movements, functional movements. So many guests or people will be familiar with things like yoga or Pilates or Tai Chi. So I'm looking at creating a new system like the same thing, but in functional movements, and then teaching that online to clients around the world. And then also looking at bringing on people who already are trainers who want to learn how to teach this to their clients. So, yep, it's exciting times.
Oh, yeah. And since I have been doing CrossFit a lot, I know what functional movement is, but explain for the people, what is functional movement? What is the opposite?
Well, the simple thing is it's the body's natural movements that the body does. So to produce physical tasks like pulling, pushing, carrying things, lifting, bending, squatting. But it's the body's has its own software, if you can imagine that. So it's got its own pre-programmed movements, and it's just discovering what those movements look like and how you should move the way the body's designed to move.
And it's not isolated movements, but it's the movement that you really need in daily life, and especially in old age when you need.
Correct. You see, the big thing was the fitness industry went for weight loss and looking good. And so we designed exercises to challenge specific muscles. And then in the medical world, we looked at specializing, focusing on single muscles to help rehabilitate. But we've kind of moved away, our modern lifestyle, away from just natural movements that flow. So I think that's where the industry is going and trying to get back to.
Cool. And your CEO tip is, hey, people, build an online stream of revenue. Can you unpack that?
I think just moving away, especially for trainers like myself, selling the hours and just being sort of having to, especially now with COVID, but if you can get online and meet people online and be involved in podcasts and generate that not necessarily passive income, but just also just getting that online business to grow, it kind of makes you resilient to what's going on in the world at the moment. And for me, just being on podcasts has been fantastic. Just building and meeting people around the world. And I've moved away from the blogging and a lot of the social media. That's just for my specific business. But I found that podcasting has been fantastic. It's been such a great way to meet people and be on shows like yours. It's been great.
Absolutely. And so you are not selling your time for money now. You are creating something that will not passively, because it's a lot of activity to build it, but it will create a steady stream of leads, of income. Can you tell us more?
Correct. Yeah. So I've got videos that I make, then we package those into products and productize those. And then we have like consulting into memberships where you get paid a retainer, or you people buy the videos, they buy your PDF documents. And that's kind of where I'm also creating now that as well with the new functional movement system. So looking at training videos. I've got a few for swimming now in Australia that I sell and moving into that direction. So that's also been great and trying to think out the box. You know, we so, especially as trainers and in the medical world, we're so fixed on having been in a gym or been in a practice. So yeah, it's great.
So I am a full remote guy since 1.5 years. I coach only remotely, but many people tell me, yeah, but come on, Simon, some things cannot be digitized. And I'm like, oh, really? Which one? Because, for example, today I booked a 5-day yoga retreat next week from my home. So I will be on a 5 days yoga retreat alone, basically here in my house. My kids will be around, and I will be on a yoga retreat with a teacher in London. So how do you coach completely remote?
I do. I've actually shut down my whole practice here in South Africa, and it's mostly online now. And I specialize in different fields, whether it's knee arthritis, back pain, golf. It's it's kind of health is quite broad, and so most of it's online through Zoom or Skype, and just amazed at how many people are open to that now, especially after the COVID, and they don't mind. They put their phone or their iPad, and they just happy to do the movements, and they get on with it. And it's been amazing. It's just a different mindset, like you said, Simon, just changing that mindset.
I will tell you, even in the sports field, I'm even more bullish about the remote stuff, because my favorite thing is to do sports in nature, to do it alone anyway. I'm a triathlete. I do it alone anyway. Just the race is together with others. But the training, I'm used to do it whenever I want, and it's basically the more the better. Every day, couple of times a day. Now, the more you are free to do it, the better. If I have to wait, so when I was doing CrossFit in between, I had to be there at exact that time when the group starts.
Yes.
And I had to commute there, losing half an hour and then changing, etc. You lose 1.5 hours for just one training session. And so everything that can give me more freedom and help me train where I am right now in the moment that I am right now, it's super helpful. What are the mechanisms that you have found to make it work remotely?
Well, I think in terms of the Zoom, it depends. I've got different clients. So some clients, they just want me to look at their movements, and it can be 10 to 15 minutes. Other clients, the older sort of generation, want to have an hour conversation and talk and share. And so that becomes an hour, and that's just, very simple also over the Zoom. But it's really just dialing into what people want, and that guides your products or your services. And like triathletes, busy people, and got lots to long ago. They don't want to sit for an hour and a half on Zoom. They want to basically maybe show you an exercise and say, look, just check my technique, and I will say this and that and change that. And they say, thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. And that helps them. Again, and then the other person in Australia or America will say, I just want to talk and explain this to me and movements. So yeah, that's how I've discovered those different products or different services.
Absolutely. And also to my coach, I would send either a short video. Hey, look, this is my running technique. What do you say? Yeah. Vertical oscillation, legs, etc. Back, tension, no tension. And then a speed of the legs. And then sometimes he would just say, hey, send me your Garmin data. And and he would say the volume and the average pace, etc. And would say, hey, you are running too fast. You are not running enough. And just giving me hints that then I have to go in and implement. Do you?
I do that with the golfers and the runners. I'm also a running technique coach. So we do that with the running as well. They just send a video, and it takes me literally like 30 seconds to see sometimes the faults and just make a quick change. It's very, very small things. So very often it's just literally, like you say, bend the knees, or you're doing this too fast. And it's amazing what you can do now with technology. You can put it into these video analysis apps and software, and it's fantastic. I think it's worked for both of us. The trainers and the clients are really enjoying the quick and the helpful, as long as you're getting results.
And I think it's also a general shift in how we coach. For example, I am a business coach, but 3 years ago, I would do 1 8-hour workshop once a month. So you had to wait for 4 weeks until I come to your city, and then we do a full workshop. And I don't think it's natural, it's functional, it's appropriate anymore. I think it's like you say, I need you 15 minutes here, and then 10 minutes there, and then 5 minutes there, and then 20 minutes there. Sometimes multiple times in one day.
Correct.
But it's not in 4 weeks, I need you for 8 hours. That's really not.
I think a big thing that's a mindset for me and the business world is changing from I'm so passionate about what I do, but I had to jump into the business world because you've got to sell what you do. Is that you think that you're charging the money, you got to give them the time, and the guys, especially my triathletes and stuff, they're not interested in the time, they're interested in the results. They want the result. If you can give them that result in 30 seconds, they'll pay you for it. And for me, I feel, I don't want to sit now and talk for the next 45 minutes and just waste your time because you're charging you per hour. And that was a big mindset for me to change.
Yeah, I think that's so important. It depends on your target audience. So if
Absolutely,
your target audience values time more than money, they want to spend for the most efficient solution.
Absolutely.
And then there is also the other audience. They have more time than money. Different problem, different solutions for them, different formats.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. And that's what I've been discovering. I don't have a background in business, but I'm just learning this as I go along. And yep.
Yeah, you're sensing it quite right. I am since 17 years in this business, and I found this.
Yeah, no, it's just simply like what do people want? I think, as you said, like it's such a like solving people's problems, and having someone lock him in for 8 weeks of 2-hour Zoom sessions is not what a triathlete wants, but it is what a lady or an old man and whoever they are wants to sit down, and you take them slowly through the movements and you train them. That's what they're looking for. So it's, yeah.
I'm so curious who you pick for the strategy award after one word from our sponsors.
Hey, if you love what you are hearing, you will love our free masterclasses. Go grab them at strategysprints.com.
You can pick one person when everybody's zigging. This person is zagging. Who is this?
There's so many people out there that are doing great things, but one of the guys that I've been following lately is a guy called Joel Irway. And he's someone that's master on the sales funnels and sales processes. He deals with mini webinars, and he's just been so helping me so much with that there are people who will buy from you right now, and you don't need to spend like all this time developing complex systems to try to get your first clients. And I think that was, to me, especially being new, well, not new, 2 years now into their businesses, but just find those clients, and if they're buying, then work on getting more of them, and then you can start to. So it's called like the dissension model. So instead of selling like a $5 product and a $20 product and a $48 product and a $100 product and $1,000, he says just going for the big number. And to me, that was a weird way of thinking because I've been so used to the ascension model, and now I've said to my clients in the US, most of my clients are US based and in Europe as well. And that's my price. This is what I offer. And it's been amazing how many people have bought it. And it's been, for me, it just frees you up as a businessman, because you're not, if I've got to sell a $4.99 info product, you're going to have to sell thousands, to make a decent living.
And so, yeah, tell us. So what's your current offer and your current price, and who is it for?
Well, I mean, I sell still one-off sessions, which is looking around $79 a session for 45 minutes. And then I've got a $279 for once a week sessions. But my clients often will see twice a week, so they will buy two lots of packages. And then I've got a $49 email support that I email with the guys. But I'm still looking, like you said, it keeps changing now with my triathletes in Australia. I'm trying to work on what would be a fairly monthly recurring income that they'd be happy to have access to my videos, and what part of the content do they value. So it's a trial and error, process. You're trying to find out what they're happy to pay for. But I think I'm not underpriced. Like when I look at my clients in the US, have often said you're fairly more on the lower side. But when I compare it to the South African market, it's 4 times what I charge here. So it's just difficult to, especially being out from the Europe or America, to make sure that you price yourself right. But I don't really want to also, price too much. Price myself out in the market, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we have some similar topics, because I'm in Europe, but we have also 50% of our clients are in the Bay Area, and then we have Latin America, and then we have the London area,
yeah,
and Australia, similar to you. So we don't have a lot of South Africa going on, but we have a lot of Australia going on, and so it's the same thing when you compare your price. What you take as a comparison, because I now have to compete with the US prices. Yes. And so which one do you take? It's an interesting conversation to have in the team. And some people do now price per country, and we don't. But there are some pros and cons. And also it's competitive analysis. Who do you pick as your competitor? So you can pick other people who have similar offer, or you can pick the alternative for the client. So what else can they do if they don't work with you? And then you see, okay, how much time or money would they waste, and what is it worth? And then you package it, the price that way.
Yeah, and that's what I've done. I mean, I've looked at my top level guys, and I've actually, you know, I built a relationship with them, and I'll say to them, hey, you know, do you feel this is a good price? And they'll say, you do too cheap, or there's too much, or if you added this to your services, I would happily pay that. And I'm like, okay, and then I add it to my services, and they pay it, you know. So it's just that trial and error. I think the price is so important because I know in the US they're very, I'm generalizing, but they do equate price with quality. And I think most of us do. If you're going to buy a cheap, you know, something cheap, you generally associate it with poor quality. So it's just trying to sell that the value that I add to my clients, that even though maybe it's a 10-minute call, but that might be life-changing for you, you know, and how you put a price on that.
It's the value. You know, if in 5 minutes you can tell to a top athlete that he is losing 5 centimeters in vertical oscillations like I had, and that makes the difference between the 6th place or the 3rd place in a race. Now, how much is that worth? It was 5 minutes, but this is worth a lot.
Correct.
So it's the value.
But it has to be the client has to value that. You know, I work with a lot of golfers, and so they value, you know, high level golfers. They value that small little change, because it's a difference between having back pain, and back pain for golfers is a nightmare. You know, it's out of the competitions. But if you can just show them 1 or 2 tweaks, and their pain goes, and they you know, as you say, they can start playing more golf tournaments. And so it's great.
The 3 books that shaped you most.
Sure. You know, my surname's Reader, but I don't read. I haven't read a lot of books, but I think the last 20 years, 10, 15 years, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. So I have to dig back into my history, but a few that come to mind is The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. That was for me, that was great. Just how the ideas and small things that can spark not a revolution, but just how you spread your message. And then I really enjoyed Rich Dad Poor Dad, just the way Robert Kiyosaki, how he's going from having a job to being a business or an investor mindset. That really helped me to really think about, you know, where I was going, because that was what was resonating in my mind. And so that was good. I'm also quite a religious person, so I read the Bible, you know, every day. It's not a book I read, so that helps me with my morality, making sense of the world we live in. And yeah, I think as a business owner, you need more than just your own resources, a bit of faith to get through the tough times. So yeah, those are the 3 books that I recommend, or not recommend, but I've read. Yep.
Beautiful. Yes, and also a good mix of like really tested books and more newer books. Beautiful. Yeah. And because it's always good to have some of your reading that has passed the test of times. That is evergreen.
Yeah, we have a saying here: you want to read the old guys. You want to read the people of the old guys, because I'm not no discredit to younger, but they've been through it, and you know they've seen it all before.
Absolutely. I have a similar rule for myself: read at least 1 pre-Gutenberg book per week.
Yeah.
At least one. Yeah. So beautiful. What did you recently change your mind about?
Sure. I think just we live in such an instant world of gratification. Things have got to happen quickly, and especially like being on the online space. Like I had this sort of unrealistic expectation of how far my business would be. So, you know, I thought I'd be this multi-millionaire by now. But anyway, the point is just how long. Just getting life. It's all about timing. And you know, we're not a factory. We humans, and we've got to get growing our experiences and our character. Especially what I do. It takes time to learn experiences, interact with people online. So just this thing of adjusting my expectations and mindset around timing. And it's amazing when you're ready for something, it happens. The timing is, I've just seen like the last couple of years now, even with interviews and podcasts, where 2 years ago, I just couldn't get onto podcasts. And now every second week I'm being invited onto podcasts. And so yeah, it's a timing thing, and relaxing in that now. So not stressing about it, and not trying to make things happen, just sort of do the best I can.
Cool. Who should be my next guest?
Sure. Look, from the business world, I would definitely recommend the guy I was following, that Joel Irway. He would be, if you can reach him, but he would be a good guy to get on here, especially for the business guys who involve with maybe webinars or have sales funnels, those kind of sort of strategies. He would be great.
Absolutely. And yeah, what's up next for you and your business?
I think just growing the markets, getting more exposure in Europe, in England, and overseas, and I really want to grow not the passive, but the membership model where people will I'd love to have maybe 100 or 200 people that are paying recurring income for access to my videos or something that they really find super helpful. So that's where I'm going. I'm kind of just finding out what the market wants, but that would be where I want to go to now. Yeah.
There is definitely a market for that. I myself, I watch YouTube videos and then I go do my stuff myself. I'm not the perfect candidate for that, but my running buddy today in the morning, my running buddy told me that he just booked a coach that does Edo Portal, functional movement stuff.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And he goes, they really do physical coaching. So of course, if you can do it even more accessible because you don't have to go there, that's even easier.
Yeah, look, I mean, the running is a big space. I mean, that's one of the things that running is a great. I love teaching running because of the functional movements. So it's such a simple thing. A few changes you can make can have a big impact on your body, and it's avoid a lot of injuries. It brings a lot of stress relief. It's a fun thing to do, and it's not expensive. You have to buy expensive bikes. But yeah, a lot of people struggle with running, and the problem with running is a lot of mixed advice and different opinions floating around the internet. There's a lot of controversy, but I find, which helps me so much, is that when you go back to the body's natural movements, you can argue against the bodies. I didn't design the body, so it's like things. And when you ask the runners, how does it feel? They say it feels so natural. I'm like, there you go. It's not a call reader technique. It's you're putting the body in the right position.
Absolutely. And depending on the niche, like you could go to the beginner runners who want to just get into the thing, but you could also go to marathon people. I know so many marathon and ultra runner who should really do more weights, more functional, intensive muscular work, because they need to strengthen parts of their body. And when you see them running, they run like this because they are tired. So they need a lot of muscular work, but they don't like it because runners don't try to avoid all everything heavy. And so, but they are stiff and they don't have enough muscles.
The great thing about functional movement, I think this is what a lot of people are looking for, is they're looking for the strength, the flexibility, and the mobility. And they're doing a lot of stretching and a lot of mobility exercises. But the great thing with learning how to do functional movements is you get those benefits quite quickly. So, I'm the most flexible and mobile I've ever been, and I don't do any stretching. And people say to me, what do you mean you don't do any stretching? And I say, it's just because I move in a way that the muscles let go, the fascia. You can do all the foam rolling, and that's quite painful. And particularly people who've got injuries, having to do stretching and stuff. You either like it or you don't. There's a big crowd of people who love stretching, and other people hate it.
I hate it.
I find like for people who hate it, I'm like, well, then just do a couple of sessions with me on the functional stuff, and you will get that mobility quickly. Because it's the body lets go. So I work with the nervous system. I don't deal with trying to stretch out muscles and fascia. If you've had a long run or a long cycle and you've climbed a mountain and you feel stiff, then you can stretch your legs or your arms. That's fine, that's stretching. But trying to stretch your body is a really long way to get to the thing. And I think that's why a lot of people are dissatisfied with the stretching results, because they feel good and then 2 weeks later they're tight again.
One day later.
One day later, and so for people who are listening, who are keen to do that, that's functional movements done correctly, because a lot of functional movements that I see are completely dysfunctional. Even the plank, which is a very popular core strengthening exercise, is referred to as a functional movement, and it's completely dysfunctional. You would never be planking in your real life. I mean, when do you ever lie or sit in that position? So it's not a functional movement. It's static. You're sort of stuck in the one position. There's no movement. I could keep you another hour here talking about how it's dysfunctional, but there are other exercises very similar that are functional. So yeah, in fact, some of these exercises make your core stronger, make you stiffer. So while they're trying to make their tummies stronger, they're making their back stiffer. And then they go to yoga and they're tight in the yoga, and then they get free in the yoga, and they come back to their core exercise and they're tight again. So it's all because you're mixing everything. So it's quite dynamic and complex, but yeah, simple in a sense. I wouldn't say simple, but it's when you give the body what it needs, which is functional movements, not these hectic exercises, you get great results.
Many are experimenting now with micro exercises. Instead of taking 2 hours and showering, etc., they do like 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 10 minutes there during the day.
Yes.
If they would just snack a little bit of exercise like that, which functional movements would you recommend them to do?
That was a great question. Squats, hands down. Like, just doing like 7 or 2 sets of 10 squats, but again, done properly. If you do squats incorrectly, you're going to have knee problems, back problems. And such a simple exercise. Like, we do this for all the high-level golfers. I train a lot of the German international golfers here in South Africa. And one of the guys here, I made him sit on a low step, like a little rock or a pavement. And I just said to him, get up. And he said, I can't. I mean, this guy is so strong in his arms and his legs. He deadlifts or squats like 150 kilograms. I said to him, just sit on the stone or on a medicine ball and get up. And he couldn't. And he said, I don't understand. And I said to him, yeah, you don't have functional strength. You may be strong, but you don't have functional strength. So I got him to just get up off a small little step, 2 times 7, 2 sets of 7 every second day. And now he gets up effortlessly. And he's got huge hip improvements. He said, I can't believe how my hips are so loose from just doing that simple exercise. And I said, yeah, it's functional. You don't have to go and squat 150 kilograms, So I would say either do squats, but make sure you're working with a trainer or someone that can make sure your technique is right. Otherwise, just those 3 or 4 squats can damage your knees or your back.
I will tell you something that I have never told in public until now. It's 5 years that I don't have a desk. I don't have a chair, and basically have nothing that conventional offices have. I am sitting on the smallest things that I can.
Fantastic. There you go. Now, if you were to get up from there 10 times in a row, just up and down, and then stop, have a coffee, have a water, whatever, that would give you more mobility in your hips. And you can try it and you can see if what I'm saying is true, but you'll be amazed at just that exercise, how much mobility you get. Now, obviously, you got to be careful with those who got back problems and knee problems. You got to build up to that, and that's where I help people online and take them through that process. But for the average guy, just that simple exercise 3 times a week, you get great results. Look, it's not going to make you a bodybuilding champion, but that's not what you're looking for. And
this small tweak, because I hate stretching, so I just do it while working, basically, and this has had immense impact. So I went to my personal trainer during lockdown. There was no CrossFit, so I went for weightlifting to a personal trainer, and we started from the basics, squat, etc. And he made a picture of me squatting, and I was like, oh, that's a bad sign when he makes a picture. And then he showed me, Simon, you have the perfect squat. And I said, what is a perfect squat? And he said, the degree of your angle of your hips and your back is just perfect. You need a lot of hip mobility to do that. And I'm like, I don't stretch. I don't do hip mobility. And he was like, you do a lot of hip mobility every day. And I was like, wait a moment. I'm sitting on the floor when I work 12 hours a day. Is that mobility? He said, yeah, continue doing that.
Absolutely. And there you go. You've actually experienced that. And I mean, I've just discovered that recently. I was saying to the guys now, like I've just had clients in the US, and I've just said, can we just stop your program? And do you have a low step or a low, like a cushion? And they said, yes. And I said, sit on it and get up. And they go, I can't get up. I said, okay, well, there we go. And I just give them very basic stuff. Look, if you don't have any, I don't know, maybe you don't have any hip or back problems, but you must be, if you do have hip, back or knee problems, sitting on a low thing can aggravate it. And that's where you work with someone like myself or a trainer to help you get the height. But it's, again, a very simple example of, and what a difference it makes.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
so,
and for sorry, those people who love yoga, you know, what I work with so many people who do yoga. It's so popular, and I always say, you know, just add a few strengthening exercises and the correct exercises, and you will see how much improvement in yoga. And suddenly you'll be in positions you can't imagine you could get to so quickly.
absolutely. Carl Reader, everybody, check your mobility, check your functional patterns, check your flexibility. This is so good, not just if you're an athlete, but just if you're a human being, because you will move better and you will feel better and you will run everything in your day better, maybe even your business. So check it out, people. Thank you, Carl, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Simon. Yep.
Come back soon, my friend.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. Thank you.
Avoid trying to do thousands of things that doesn't work. We have 274 templates for your business success. Reach your ambitious goals with one-on-one sprint coach.